Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the X-Force Global channel. Thank you very much for joining. Hope you're doing fantastic. Before we dive into the Bitcoin analysis, I just want to take a quick moment to give a warm thank you to everyone who has been following me for the past 4 to 5 years or so. I have some great news, and I would like to give some insight on how I have built my credibility over the years as an Elliott wave analyst. One way was through TradingView, and I am very happy to say that I am now officially inaugurated into the TradingView panelist team of quote-unquote wizards, where I obtain a wizard badge to commemorate my expertise of work. As you can see here, I have the wizard badge here, and only 3 have been selected for this year, and it's really because of everyone's support that gives me the motivation to continue with these daily updates on social media, pumping out these educational ideas, but now on YouTube as well. So thank you very much. And also thank you very much if you are also new here. So if you go to the TradingView blog, you can also see the inauguration, my little introduction that they created for me. So yeah, let's get on to the Bitcoin analysis now. So without any further ado, let's get into the latest developments of price action and explore how we can revise the wave counts based on our prior analysis. Again, I must cater to both the bulls and bears. I hope my analysis shows a neutral approach to help build your own thesis on the bearish or bullish outcome. So starting off with our first scenario, as our prior analysis or video we've talked about, is the diagonal. Now, the diagonal is working in this contraction idea, but price is starting to move up, and we want to be looking for at least one more kind of ABC possibly being built up here. Right now, this is working in the idea of this being an A wave, B wave, and a C wave possibility. Now, if the bottom is in, we can ideally as well say that this was a double zigzag, and the double zigzag idea is still in play and valid. However, we want to keep this idea at bay because there is the possibility of having that combination idea, and this overlapping structure of that 90% Fibonacci retracement deems this likely as not the scenario in terms of this being the ABC. But if price continues to move up to new all-time highs, we can alternately label this as the double zigzag, as it's not invalid. So if we're sticking to the diagonal idea, we're looking for some kind of ABC or a zigzag family of a WXY or an ABC, but it looks like it's a WXY because this move here was very tricky, which I'll just go over in a moment. But again, we were looking for some kind of 3-3-3 type of move up into this region here where the trend line meets. Now, we've met pretty much every single expectation of the diagonal, but we really ideally want to be hitting the trend line before coming down for one more move and then going up. And again, this move here for an ending diagonal as opposed to the leading diagonal, it can be truncated, meaning that it doesn't have to hit the trend line, could hit the trend line or overshoot the trend line. But ideally, at this point, I want to see it, truncated, because the wavelength from here to here is going to be quite long, and it's going to be almost similar in length with wave 3 of this part of the diagonal. So we definitely want to see some kind of truncation if this diagonal were to play out. But nevertheless, price action is moving up. Bulls are stepping into the game, looking pretty good so far, right? So not much to talk about here. The overall end result is going to be wave 4 being a conclusion, and we're off to the races to new all-time highs possibly. But in the case that we don't go to all-time highs, being rational here, we want to work with the possible idea of a wave X being built here as an expanded flat, because this does also look impulsive, and I do have a count for that on the micro time frames. We could see that this is going to be utilized as a flat going into wave W, and we are working in some kind of transitional wave X that many are not able to kind of identify due to the complexity of these wave patterns. Now, if we look at this flat being complete, we're looking for another flat of this internal structure where we had a 3-wave move into wave A, as that is the mode of structure, and we're looking for another ABC that concluded quite nicely. We also predicted this quite nicely. This C wave where is very sharp, A to C ratio in terms of the Fibonacci extension. We hit that 1618 quite nicely, not on the dot, but still that came into that Fibonacci B pocket expanded zone, which lies anywhere between the 101 to the 138%. We hit that right on the dot, and we came out here pretty confidently, and I think we can say that this is now coming into play quite a bit since our last analysis. And this red line will give us even further confirmation that maybe that bearish scenario is not something we should talk about going forward. However, since we did not breach that, we will go over that as well. So in this idea, we're looking for this to be an impulse of a wave C, rather than, again, that kind of trendline rejection. However, we do have that fair amount of resistances, so we got to take those two scenarios in mind. The overall outcome of these is still going to be a bullish move to all-time highs. So if we go on to what I was talking about of the mega bearish scenario, again, we are at the time of recording, we need to, looks like it is already invalidated on this time, pretty much invalidated. It hit 99% of this retracement. So don't worry, I have for bears some similar idea. I guess we can alternatively say that this was a WXY of some sort into this. However, again, if price starts to move into this territory of region, this one too as well is going to be invalidated. So you're going to have to be forcing your trades either as a stop, liquidated maybe, or we're going into a different type of bearish scenario that we're not aware of yet. But again, this wave 4 could be alternatively labeled here, and then we're down for one more move as a wave 5, possibly into that wave 5 of the minor degree, and then we come back down for one more move for this 5-wave move of this intermediate 3, and we'll complete this whole move as a wave 3. Channeling idea can still be applicable here, so there's really a small tight wiggle room, but we're still working in that idea of the bearish until that invalidation occurs. So I think right now bears are kind of sweating, definitely, on this move up. It's around 8%. That's quite a bit on spot price. And this move here is very comparable to this move here. So I would expect even with a pullback to the upside of some sort. So the probabilities lie in the bullish count as we speak, as we have been talking about in the previous videos. So if we look at the micro time frame analysis, what we can see here is a very, very tricky shorter time frames. How can we get up into this region over here? Well, we're going to have to label either these as some kind of 1-2s, or how are we going to label this as a W wave, right? We need a mode of a structure of a 3-wave pattern going into a wave W, and wave Ws are incorporated via zigzags only. You only want to have zigzags as your mode of pattern, right? So we could have a possible leading diagonal going into the first wave A, and some kind of running triangle that goes into a wave B, and then this would be the impulse, another leading diagonal of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'll complete the C wave of this wave W. So this would be the first wave of W, and we had this small consolidation for the day, which means that this could be a flat going into wave W, an ABC going into wave X, and then another zigzag going into wave Y. This completes that kind of running variation type of the idea of a WXY. And then this move, since it was impulsive, this is the first leg of that A wave that we're going to be looking for. This pullback will determine everything on how this is going to be playing out. Ideally, since this wave A is so long, we're always going to be looking for Fibonacci ratios. So ideally, this idea might even get invalidated in a good sense, meaning that this is going to be turning more impulsively than more correctively. So we do still have all the kind of recipe or ingredients being built up for this possible diagonal idea as we zoom out. But again, the idea that I was talking about that has the highest probability lies in the idea of that WXY count, where we have the possible triangle idea as well as for wave Y. But right now, it's too early to talk about. We want to see a zigzag for wave Y. First, take it step by step. We really want to see this as an impulse, but the first move off the floor as an 8 to 9% move is quite convincing in itself. As we can see, we're at 61.7 now. So this is already starting to become, this bearish idea is already starting to become invalidated, and for the first level of that 1, 2. So again, for the micro impulse count, what we want to be looking for, rather than that ABC move to the upside, still ideally, we want to be labeling this as some kind of ABC. That's the only way we can count it. It did tag that 1618 as a running flat or even a running triangle. Usually the maximum for running triangle wave Bs should retrace wave A no more than 161.8%. However, the running variation of this idea, same idea, it hit the 1618. So I guess that's the only way we can interpret it, because the next set of legs, this 1, 2, 3, 4 going into wave possible 3 of the minor degree, then another wave 4 pullback, 5. This just makes more sense in terms of kind of organizing it. So this looks like it's turning into some kind of impulsive structure if we're able to keep the momentum, break these bearish invalidations, and then wave 1, have that larger wave 2 pullback, kind of fake out everyone thinking that this wave 2 pullback is the next bear run, and then we come up for wave 3, 4, 5 that eventually completes this wave X, and we're looking for this type of move. Now, there is another case study that I actually looked at from our previous live stream of yesterday, where we had another similar type of expanded flat, where if you look at the dollar, you could see that this moved down as a 5-wave move, turned us into a wave A, B, and then a possible C wave that was coming down. This is not important. The overall move where this transitional move happened got invalidated in terms of that idea. It could have been an ABC running flat. We had this as this, but again, we're looking for the alternatives when it comes to these internal structures. That's why we got to have those hybrid scenarios intact. So we have this similar idea of a kind of an expanded flat. This is the type of move that we're looking for. Shallow pullbacks on this wave C on the micro time frames, and that is what is going to be completing this overall C wave. This would be the X wave as we saw for Bitcoin. So if we pull back our Bitcoin chart, we can see that this is exactly what we want to be looking for in terms of the price action on the shorter time frames. So that's pretty much it for the current accounts. We just went over the micro time frames, and those ideas in terms of what the probabilities are now lies within this. In my opinion, my favorite scenario is this WXY. I think we'll range here for a little bit in this equilibrium zone. We do have the idea of a possible triple combo that is coming into play, and that will be very interesting, right? If we have a triple combo, what we're looking for is the same idea, but coming back down, not breaking the lows. We really want to be working in this possible flat idea is what ideally what I would like to see back and forth. That'll create a longer 1, 2, or 3, 4 of some sort, and then we're out of here. The next analysis, we'll be talking about the macro primary analysis, or the larger time frames, and how these scenarios could fit into the larger time frames. So please do give a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already within the channel. I really appreciate everyone joining. If you're not in the X-Force Global Discord membership, please do feel free to contact me. The link is in the description below if you wish to join. Follow me on social media at X, or formerly known as Twitter, at X-Force Global. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.